Just 2 rounds remain in the ProtoGT Series. And we head ourselves to the high banks of Daytona, just a few days removed from the great American race. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Will Vinton along with Connery Maddock. You are looking live at Daytona Beach, Florida for round number 11 of the championship. And well, now, Connery, if you want to be frank and honest about it, the talking now stops. It's what you do on the racetrack that is going to be the way you get yourself to the top of the standings.
Yep, exactly. Hello there, everyone. This is RaceSpotTV Primetime Wednesday slot. It's going to be talking about all about the championship from now on forwards. Just 2 rounds of the championship left, Will, and Diego Company currently leading the prototype division in terms of points, followed by Dimitri Jamatis, Carlo Labate, Joel Coroni, right out in that 4th place in the point standings as well, and all of those names in this session right now.
Yep, there's a look at some of the fast lap times to date. 3 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in terms of practice. Sorry, in terms of qualifying even. But what better way to give you a lap of Daytona Beach, Florida than by doing it on board? This is Rift style. And Connery, as we look at this onboard here, on board with Ollie Quacker, what we can see is just how late they break in towards turn number 1, but also just how tippy-toe the International Horseshoe is in a prototype.
Yeah, it definitely can be one of those tricky corners, International Horseshoe, especially turn 1 as well. I want to go back to turn 1 actually because it's such a tricky braking zone. You're actually turning while on the brakes as well, and there's a couple of bumps that can definitely unsettle the car, and it can cause a lot of issues for your prototypes, but also for your GT cars as well.
Have a look then through turn number 6 with Ollie Quacker, and actually turn 6 in all these cars is a really difficult one as well. You see a little bit of snap oversteer as you get on the gas pedal, transitioning from what essentially is the apron of NASCAR turn 1 and 2 onto the 31 degrees of banking.
Yeah, well, we definitely saw that in the 24 hours of Daytona we had just a month and a little bit ago. Cars do get unsettled coming out of turn 6, coming up onto the banking. We saw a lot of incidents there. The question remains to be seen, though, whether we'll see a lot of incidents here today. Obviously, slightly different weather conditions to the night race for the Daytona 24. This is actually late afternoon at track temp 83 Fahrenheit, so a little bit warmer than these guys were used to in the 24.
Yes. There is Quacker going past the start-finish line. A lap on board perspective from the Oculus Rift here on RaceSpotTV, and as we said, this week is all about Daytona. Coming your way in just a few days' time, the great American race here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive. It is the iRacing Daytona 500. You can catch it from 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the 24th of February. And well, we're going to say different type of racing between today and Friday, but we have, and we will probably see a little bit of free-wide racing today. We'll definitely see free-wide racing come Friday night.
Oh yes, we definitely will, but we've got to get this one, this race done first before we start considering that one. Well, this one, you don't go around the whole NASCAR banking, you go into the infield and do some right and left turns before spinning back out.
Yeah, 47 seconds remaining in qualifying then. There's a look on board of Jürgen Frank, qualified 5th place for this one. Hopefully, we should be able to start getting your grid up for you. So we're going to have a look, and let's have a look. Yeah, indeed we are able to. So it is Maximilian Beneke then, front row of the grid in terms of your prototypes. Frederick Evers alongside him, front row of the grid. Diego Comini in 3rd place, Patrick Wolf in 4th. There are your top 2 rows in prototype. 17 prototype drivers here today. That is 1/2 of this 34 car field. Cycle back. And there is the 17th driver, Ruque Garcia there from Club East Bar America. Heading on back to your GT1 field, Connery. And well, Brokeman in a Corvette has finally got himself a pole position.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long time coming for that Coanda driver, Will. In the Corvette, it probably is his favorite car at this point. He always uses it no matter what the track is. He's going to stick by that Corvette, and finally he's gotten pole position. Perhaps a track that's pretty good for it, actually, with the slow speed corners. Just coming out the slow speed corners, he's able to get the power down much more effectively in the Corvette, which may be why he's on pole.
And it's going to be an interesting balance. We'll talk about that one in the race between the Aston Martin and the Corvette. One would argue the Aston is better from about the entry of turn number 1 through to the exit of turn number 6. Corvette arguably should be better elsewhere. But the lap, number 11 machine, pole position in terms of the GT2 field. Klockman, Thyssen, Prado. 7 drivers in terms of the GT2 field. So, here we are then, RaceSpotTV Primetime getting itself ready for another showing here. Almost set to get going. There's a look at your weather conditions one more time for this evening, and that's worth noting there, Connery. 12 km/h winds. Track temperature's not too bad here this afternoon. Plenty of drafting opportunities.
Oh yeah, definitely. As we see these guys line up behind the iRacing roof pace car just before the bus stop, so we won't be doing a full pace lap here, so racing should be getting underway relatively shortly. But yeah, as you say, well, winds aren't too bad, the track temp isn't too bad, it's quite average conditions here, so I don't think many of the drivers will have an issue with the weather conditions as they are right now. But we are just a couple of seconds away from pulling off of the grid here. We're getting ready for the start.
There we are then. iRacing first pace car, the roof, gets ready to pull off. 34 drivers here for round number 11 of the ProtoGT Championship on RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, Friday night, catch round number 11 of Friday prime time broadcast even. That is going to be the Formula Renaults over at Twin Ring Motegi. Got some fantastic racing, of course. The centerpiece of that is round number 1 of the 2017 iRacing NASCAR Series. That will be Daytona 500. But first, we're going to get the ProtoGT field running on the high banks. 31 degrees through turn number 3 and 4. Pace car going to put himself on towards pit road, and let's get this show on the road. There goes the number 1. Green flag in the air. We are racing for 1 hour here at fantastic Daytona.
Oh, we have 4 wide back in the pack. GT1s there, Will. Oh, Niels Coker involved in that one. They all managed to get through miraculously. There's still 3 wide coming down into turn 1. But, oh, that was so very close. Perhaps we can get a replay of that one, because I don't think I've ever seen 4 wide across the start-finish line in GT cars. I've seen it in NASCAR, but GT cars?
Yeah, let's have a look then at that one. Just to let you know, as we go to this replay, everyone in your field has been able to get going without incident, with the minor exception of what we saw in your GT1 field. Here they are then, going 1 wide, 2 wide, 3 wide, 1 driver all the way down below the yellow line there. They were 4 wide in towards turn number 1. They managed to make it happen. Well, we said 3 wide was going to happen here. We're thinking interclass. We weren't expecting 4 wide into the first corner of this racetrack.
No, I don't think so, and well done to all of those drivers involved for keeping that, keeping that from being an absolutely humongous incident coming towards the start-finish line. Just have a look at the number 3, Niels Koch, maybe lining up the pass on Kevin Siggy. Number 14, Rens Brokeman ahead of them, has just broken away a little bit, and he needs to break that draft if he's going to have a much better chance at winning this. But as they just file their way through the bus stop, the train is still developing behind him, and they're catching Brokeman. He's not able to break draft yet.
Yeah, 6 tenths of a second. Let's see how that one will come down in towards turn number 1 Patrick Wolff, Marcus Hamilton. They're going 3 wide, almost down in towards turn 1 in your prototype field. Very close action going on there. Hamilton is going to be in 3rd place at the end of this one, moving himself ahead of Patrick Wolff for the time being. Back into your GT1 field, and well, Broken was able to hold on there for the first lap, so that's
contact behind.
Yeah, big car into the wall, and that is Velosa there, out, and he's really going to struggle now to get that car out without causing too many issues. Number 6 machine, that's pretty much going to be game over. We saw that in the 24 hours of Daytona, actually, and he's the first driver to do it, not even 5 minutes into this event.
Yeah, and he was basically an innocent passenger in that one. Jürgen Frank ahead of the number 4 Aston Martin just got into a slide, hit the back of Lauren Henrich in the number 7, spun towards the inside of the track exactly where Velosa was, and then there was pretty much nothing Velosa could have done there.
Yeah, it looked actually that because it was so slow, I'm not necessarily worried about the front-on impact he had. It'll be the side-on impact that's really going to hurt that race car, although top speed is so important here, so there's one thing worth thinking about. Colin Klockman, what a surprise, up to the top of your running in GT2s already. Actually, no, he's not. Take that back. He's 3rd. My timing and scoring has gone haywire. But Colin Klockman is in 3rd place right now. Baslov behind him. But your GT2 field, they are pretty much running line of stern right now. And that's the situation in GT2. Everyone is in drafting range of each other. In terms of GT1, everyone's in drafting range of each other. In Prototype, guess what the story is, Connery?
You're not going to say they're all in drafting range of each other, right?
Most of them are. We've got 2 packs for them. Beneke versus Comini is actually about 7/10 of a second right now. Let's go on board, actually, for a moment with Comini. Still taking turn number 5, essentially, as it is. Flat out there in that Team GT machine. So, we've been able to start getting things a little bit settled down. It's worth noting, actually, your top 2 have broken away now in prototypes by about 1.5 seconds. Now, in a 60-minute race like this, you want to get that early advantage to break the draft, because if you can then get yourself into a position where you've got 2 drivers trying to negotiate traffic later on, it's going to be a much easier sell, especially if your GT1 and GT2 fields are as close as we expect them to be all race long.
Yeah, it's kind of what we expect at the start of the Daytona 24 race, when the first couple of stints, when they were coming around to lap, the prototypes were coming around to lap GT cars. The GT cars were pretty much all still in one big train, so that can definitely be tricky. There's not enough time here for your packs to get incredibly spread out, so they're all just going to roll around together. But I think Beneke and Kanuni have now broken the draft from Patrick Wolff in that number 13 car. Now, what does Kanuni decide to do? Does he decide to fuel save behind Maximilian Beneke, or does he want that track position ahead of him?
Or both. I would say arguably he would want to save a little bit, but at this type of racetrack, you want a dance partner as much as possible. You have it in NASCAR. Coming on towards pit road by yourself is going to destroy your ability to turn hot laps. The same kind of applies in a tight race like this. You would want to go on towards pit road with someone else if you can at all do so. So actually, maybe right now, Beneke and Comini are going to try and see whether they can work together on this one. The good thing is they've got the early advantage. Worth noting, though, that it is Patrick Wolff running in 3rd place. So Pure Racing Team first, Pure Racing Team in 3rd place. Maybe they might try and freeze Comini out in this one, in that lone Team GT car.
Yeah, I didn't spot the team, so thank you for spotting that one, Will. So it was, so Beneke may just try to back up Kamuni into Patrick Wolff and then try and break away with Patrick Wolff, basically hang Kamuni out to dry like they sometimes do in NASCAR pack racing. That'll be definitely an interesting one to watch. As looking back through your field, a couple of drivers were almost skipping across the bus stop chicane as Derici D'Amatos makes the pass on his teammate right there. Joel Crony just going very, very high, just letting him go. No point in holding him up, and I think he may have a slowdown penalty if he's going that slow.
Yes, and you talk about their hopping the curbs down at the bus stop chicane. Those of you that are new to this type of racing on RaceSpotTV, as we were just cut away, as we're just about to see a pass potentially. Marcus Hamilton there looking to the outside of Dmitry D'Amatos, but wasn't able to get the move complete in towards turn number 1. That bus stop chicane, it's low curves, a bit like at Imola. You really want to run and abuse those curves. They're going 3 wide in GT1 right now. Fantastic stuff. And this is for P number 5, 6, and 7 in class. And it's actually the driver at the rear of that train right now, Etiana Vicheo. I think he got himself a slowdown penalty as well. These low curves makes you want to attack them, and you can gain about half a second by attacking those low curves, but get more than half your car off of the racing surface, and you will have to slow down. And the good drivers know now, Connery, not to just slam on the brakes. If they run the high line through NASCAR 3 and 4 and just get off the noisy pedal, they'll lose a second and a half. But in a draft train like this, it will allow them to at least keep some momentum.
Yeah, definitely. Because of the way the iRacing system works, if you slam on the brakes at the start of the straight, for example, to try and save that your slowdown penalty, you will get it saved very, very quickly, but then you'll be losing even more time as in terms of your speed coming all the way down the straight. So you're going to be losing more time than you perhaps need to give up, which is why you just lift off the throttle a little bit, go high, just let that timer tick down very, very slowly. It gives you a relatively generous amount of time to save that penalty. So you can get it done over the course of a straight. Of course, as we see a battle, Marcus Hamilton and Dimitri Domatas going side by side across the start-finish line. Marcus Hamilton through, though.
Yep, so we'll get a very quick second look at that one for you. Marcus Hamilton moving himself up and past. And there is a look at the overspeed then. Marcus Hamilton, as he was able to work himself on the outside line of Dimitri Domatas. Well done. Hamilton up into P number 6 in prototypes right now. Let's go back and have a look at what's going on in your GT2 field. Reason why I want to show you movers and shakers in your GT2 field so far. And you'll notice Nick Thiessen up from 3rd place to 1st at the start of this one. So that 4GT is doing well, but 2 teammates behind him in Bart Delatko and Klopman. Those 2 might consider working together. Then you've got Baslob and Eduardo Prado running in 4th and 5th right now. So maybe Nick Thiessen is that driver being the sitting duck. Maybe Bart Delatko and Klopman allowed him to lead this one from the front, knowing that they can just do the whole thing of sitting behind, saving a lap of fuel and pouncing later on.
Yep, maybe, just maybe, that's what's going through Delat's head right now. Same with Cohen Klopman, same with Blastov, same with Eduardo Prado, as this 5-car train for the lead of your GT2 race just rolls around. There are only 2 GT2 cars that are not in this train currently, Charles Weibow and Michael Thomas. Oh, Michael Thomas had such a good run last time out, and he's down through the field, currently last place in your GT2 field. He's just dropped off the back of this train and just lost the draft.
Yep. So that is your situation in GT2. We'll keep you updated with that one. In terms of GT1, we'll turn our attention over to that one for the moment. Renz Broekman versus Kevin Ziggy. Still 4 tenths to a second. 4 drivers in that lead pack right now. We go on board with the driver of Kevin Ziggy. Let's listen in for a moment. That was a lift. And there's the thing, Connery. This type of racetrack at Daytona, yes, if you watch the last hour of the Rolex 24, you'll see the fact it's an all-out sprint. But in a race like this, where the race is only 60 minutes long, reliability isn't going to be the big issue. It's about you and what you can do in the race car. It's what I like to call a thinking man's race. If you want to try and go and lead this race early, that's fine. But you might not end up winning because other drivers behind you can save a bit of fuel, can just try and outsmart you by making you burn more fuel out front. So Kevin Ziggy, he was clearly lifting off the gas pedal on the run down in towards turn number 1. We'll have another listen as he comes out onto the banking. This is NASCAR turn 1 and 2. We'll see if he does the same. I'm wondering, Connery. We talk about the grunt in that Corvette, and I want to have another listen in. But I'm just thinking, that he clearly lifted off into turn number 1, 2. I don't think he's got the grunt to make a pass in the run to the box stop, but now's a better run. There's a better chance to assess this. What's your thoughts?
I think he lifted just for the tri-oval right there, and I don't believe that he's running that high of a wing setting on that Aston Martin, so it must have been lift, perhaps not where we usually expect it coming down onto the entry to the corner, your usual lift and coast fuel saving, but I think he's lifting.
Yeah. Dominic DeMatos is actually down another place. He's lost 1-2. Francisco Gonzalez right now. There is Patrick Wolf. Worth noting, your top 3 have now spread out a little bit. So, Wolf is now 1.6 behind Comini. Comini is 1.1 now behind Beneke. We just had another change of position. Gonzalez versus Coroni. Gonzalez is working himself backwards right now. We'll focus in on him side by side, just ahead actually. DeMatos versus Coroni in towards turn number 1.
Yeah, those two drivers are just teammates, so I think this is just some position swapping to try and bring them back to try and catch Marcus Hamilton, who has broken away from these two drivers just a little bit down the road as they head their way down into the International Horseshoe. Daniel Piazza still onto the back of these two cars as well, so don't count him out. I'm just having a quick look back to GT1 cars because, Kevin Siggy, he's not really been in a position to pass Franz Broekman. I think he's just lifting and fuel saving a lot in that Aston Martin. Same with Niels Koch and Lauren Henreich behind them. They haven't really been passing either. So it's fuel mind games, and that we'll also be seeing a lot of this sort of fuel strategy in the Daytona 500 as well. It's very similar, believe it or not. If you're running out front, you do burn a lot more fuel than you do when you're in the draft, and you will be seeing that this weekend, and we're seeing it in this race.
We are already, and we're only 15 minutes in. Now we are back on board with Siggy for a moment then in the number 14 machine. Big lock up there by Broekman into the International Horseshoe. Where we say big lock up, and this is the big part of the mind game situation. How many times have you seen a driver out front just accidentally push wide in this type of race?
Yeah, I've seen it quite a lot. I don't know if it's deliberate, but it can unnerve the driver behind or try and get them a bit too excited. They lose focus and then they make a mistake of their own as they just head through onto the turn just before they come onto the oval. Again, Kevin Siggy, we're probably not going to be looking to make a pass here as Franz Broekman does push up the track a little bit, up almost to the safer barrier on the outside right there, but I don't think there's going to be a pass for position here if history is going to repeat itself.
Yeah, having a look back at your GT2 battle, they are line and stern. And of course, one of the reasons why you might just want to push wide and accidentally allow people to go past you is because that way you'll get the chance to fuel save. It's a cat and mouse game here today at Daytona. Go back and have a look down in your prototype field. This is the battle for P8 and 9. Now, in this circumstance, there is not the whole fuel saving game going on as much. These guys are racing pure pace for position, working themselves past a little bit of GT2 traffic right now as the run through NASCAR turn number 1, through NASCAR turn number 2, on towards that back straightaway in Piazza. Well, in the second team GT car here today, it's running in a solid 9th place, but already about 1.5 seconds behind his own teammate, and they all get held up a little bit there by that GT2 car. And this is the situation. If you get a situation where a GT2 car is just ahead as you're trying to put the power down out of the box stop chicane, that is often where we see fireworks in this type of race.
Yeah, but as we see Dimitri Tomakos again trying to switch positions with his teammate. Will Daniel Piazza make it 3 wide? Actually, the two teammates doing a very good move right there. They're just going to close that gap down the middle because Piazza was definitely thinking about it as they head their way down into Tier 1. Piazza still on the inside of Javon Coroni. They head 2 wide coming through the exit. This can be relatively dangerous, just got to keep to your line, but they negotiate it fine. Coroni now will have the inside for the International Horseshoe, will defend his position.
You know what? That was such a good boxing in move. Those guys could literally go and get a job at the Daytona Beach Police Department because that was perfect teamwork there.
Yeah, they're just using both of their cars to prevent the move from the middle from Piazza. That was a very good communication there from those two teammates. There's a whole bunch of traffic ahead of them. Prototype starting to hit the bulk of your GT2 field. There goes Carlo Labate, Marcus Hamilton, and D'Amatos will also be hitting this traffic. And you just see that down the road on the bank in NASCAR Turn 2 from D'Amatos' view. This is going to get messy if he hits them in the bus stop.
Yeah, as we'll just see, Labate's going to get past one. Hamilton will get past the same one into the bus stop chicane. D'Amatos et al. They are going to catch them right at the heart, the exit of the bus stop chicane even. D'Amatos actually didn't lose too much there, but already his teammates going to go side by side with him through at NASCAR turn number 3 and 4. They have got a bit more of a gap to Piazza right now, so they've got the opportunity to do the switch, and of course this helps each other in terms of fuel, but now they've got to be careful because they'll have to take the outside, the dirtier line in towards turn number 1 on board with D'Amatos. Actually manages to slide through. Oh, we've got a car turned around there down at turn number 1. That is Marcus Hamilton, and well, the wars have started, and Hamilton rejoining on track there. Lots of smoke and tyre stuff coming up around, and well, Marcus Hamilton losing himself as a consequence about 7 places.
Yep, that was a single car incident coming down into turn number 1. No help from anyone else, just the back end slid out from underneath that car just at the apex of turn 1, spins it towards the outside, no one else involved, thankfully. But I'm just going to have a quick look down your prototype field. Jeffrey Kugelburn and Francisco Gonzalez, they're just heading their way through the GT2 traffic right now. This will be a battle for position. We think Gonzalez just down a couple of positions from when he started this lap.
Yep, there is Jeffrey Kuhlbergen, there is Gonzalez. Now, as we ride ourselves on board with Kuhlbergen, I want to keep your eye to the speed graphic here, the mile-an-hour graphic. As you'll see these prototypes, they get up to 191 miles an hour on the run down in towards the bus stop chicane. We'll keep the graphic up. I want to show you what the situation is as they head themselves in towards turn 1. A lot of prototypes all jostling for position. The same piece of real estate going on there. There's actually a better battle is going to be Gonzalez versus Durick, as we'll go on board now with Ronnie Durick on the outside in towards turn 1. 192 miles an hour they're going to get pretty much. Durick gets another mile an hour there as Kuhlbergen moves to the outside in towards turn number 1. And that allows Durick actually to find a way past. I think that move there just confused the driver of Gonzalez a tiny bit and forced him wide as Neil Andrews has had himself an issue down at turn number 1. We're having a look there at the car. We'll get the replay up.
Yes, indeed we will, as it was actually an incident ahead of him involving the number 20 Baslob and number 31 ran Rockenscar. It was quite a big pile up in turn 1 actually. Rockenscar went across the track, just collected Eduardo Brado as well. Neil Andrews also having basically almost a sympathy spin right there.
Yeah, let's have a look on board with Prado. This is where, oh no, the first incident started with Slop. You can see there, him touching a GT car, prototype car, and then Prado gets involved. Now, the thing is, that's decimated a good half of that leading pack in your GT2 field. We've seen this before this season, and it's also worth noting, Bart Delat has just moved himself to the top of the GT2's timing and scoring pylon, as he's now ahead of Nick Thyssen. Thyssen there, maybe not as good as Bart Delat, negotiating some of that traffic, and now the number 11 is to the point in GT2.
Yeah, there's actually just saw Marcus Hamilton on pit road. So very, very early stop there for Marcus Hamilton. He almost makes contact with the prototype leader there, Maximilian Baneke, in the International Horseshoe. So that's going to put Marcus Hamilton 1 lap down after his pit stop. There's a couple of GT1 cars ahead of these guys, Benjamin Gonzalez and Pablo Castro. So Maximilian Baneke will have to negotiate these guys, but he's going to get held up just a little bit behind Castro here. But again, no harm done. He has a pretty considerable gap over Mooney.
Now we noted it was 191 miles an hour that your prototypes were able to get up to. There's Rens Brokeman on the run in towards the bus stop chicane, 176 miles an hour 15-mile-an-hour difference between your prototype and GT1 field here today. And there is a look back at your GT2 field as well. Nick Dixon 1.2 seconds back still from your driver of Bart Delat. Worth noting, actually, your prototype field has really spread out, with the exception of two battles we've got going on. David Caroni, Daniel Palazzo are fighting for position. We've also got Renny Durick and Francisco Gonzalez very close together as we have a plane land at Daytona.
Yep, indeed we do, as we continue to watch this battle between the 24 and the 21, Durick and Gonzalez. They've also got Kugelbergen ahead of them as they head their way through NASCAR turn 3 and 4, heading down past the pit entry. I don't think they're going to be close enough this time. By is actually Patrick Wolf, issues with GT traffic. Yeah, Patrick Wolf, all forms are wrong down at turn number 1. There we can see him losing a lot of time now. Replay. Let's try and see what happened. In towards 1. Comes across the GT1 machine there. That was the number 25 car of Benjamin Gonzalez. We'll get another look at that. I want to have a look at my aerial coverage, if at all possible. We're going to try and get it. There we are, focusing at that point. You know what? That is a tip. You've got to put the blame on the 13 car there coming across the GT1 machine. Yeah, I definitely agree with that one, Will. Just cut across the nose of the GT traffic, almost like the GT car was not there of Benjamin Gonzalez, and then it just loses both cars a lot of positions and time right there. So you definitely got to blame Patrick Wolf for that. Yeah, as he lost a lot of time. Number 12 machine as well, Pablo Castro, almost getting carried up in that incident. Wolf down into 6th place as a consequence. Likely will have some damage to that car. Keep an eye out on him and Darren Caroni. See if Caroni closes up. That will be a good indicator if there's any speed damages ahead. Dimitri Matos, Carlo Labatti going side by side. Run down in towards the first corner. Yeah, very close indeed, and they're just going to have to negotiate Pablo Castro, that traffic right there as they head their way down into turn 1 on the bricks. Patrick Wolf is behind these two drivers right there, perhaps struggling a little bit of damage. Ron Durick, number 24, down pit road. On board now with Nick Dixon, 1.1 seconds behind Bart Delat. That's about the point that he's going to start losing the draft to Bart Delat. And here's the fascinating point. In towards turn number 1, these 4 GTs can get up to 183 miles an hour for Bart Delat there. So when it comes up to some of your prototypes, not your prototypes, your GT1 drivers passing GT2, it ain't gonna be easy if you're doing it on the bank end. No, it definitely isn't, as we're sort of heading almost towards the halfway point in this race. 35 minutes remaining left on the clock, so the pit window will definitely be well and truly open shortly. So, but a couple of the early pitters have been down already. Ronnie Durick is one of them, as we just see Patrick Wolf and Carlo Labatti there just having a little bit of a battle, as we saw Patrick Wolf perhaps struggling with a little bit of damage. I'm just looking at this car, it doesn't seem to be all that bad, but there may be some suspension issues that we can't see, but we'll have to see. As Carlo Labatti and Joel Caroni go side by side on the banking. Yeah, in towards turn 1, they'll come. Have a look there. Carlo Labatti, let's go back and have a look at this one. They're still close. We'll go on board then with Labatti in towards the first corner, and Darren Caroni will have that position for the time being. Turning, and you'll notice actually, there's about 3 or 4 different lines you can take into that first corner here, Connery. It's a bit like Sunset Bend. Some people's going to start laughing at me for making this one, but because of the fact that it is very wide into that corner, there are different lines to take. But the key thing is that it's so fast on entry. You've got to try and slow it down whilst turning the car, not locking the brakes. And that means there can be issues, especially prototype drivers. We've seen it already when they try and work themselves past some GT traffic because of the different ways they take the corner. Yeah, it can be pretty difficult coming down to that turn one, because it's not just the different lines that you take. It's sometimes there's a couple of bumps in the road that can really unsettle a car and can get the back end out, can cause a couple of lockups as well as the weight just comes off of the wheel. But yep. Oh, as we have a spin in the bus stop, actually, that's Frederick Evers in that number 17 car. Major races coming down to the bus stop. Guess what? It's with lap traffic, Kevin Siggy.
Oh, that's your race. That's your second place driver. Oh, we've got a big wreck. Big wreck there, down in towards turn number 3. A huge wreck down into turn number 3. Carlo Labate is out of this one.
Whoa, that is an absolutely humongous wreck right there. I wonder what happened. Actually, it was Cadrol Caroni having the initial issues coming out of the bus stop, spins towards the grass, but then comes back onto the track, and oh, Carlo Labate, that is an absolutely huge wreck. Just get launched into the air by the number 30. That was Danilo Piazza, that basically turns Carlo Labate's car into a space rocket.
You know how they say cautions breed cautions? David Caroni there on the exit, he has himself a spin. That's a self-spin there. And then Carlo Labate, nowhere he can go. I mean, you can't really put any blame, I say this nicely, on towards David Caroni, because he just lost the car. He didn't hit anyone. He just slid the car off of the bus stop chicane. It is an easy thing to do. And I think the fact that he saw a car basically in the wall down at the bus stop chicane itself, little things like that, when you're racing at the absolute limit, they can just distract you enough to make a silly mistake.
Yeah, indeed they do. And I guess some could say that Cadrol Caroni shouldn't have lifted off the brakes right there while he was spinning, but everything happened very, very quickly with Carlo Labate coming past, and also Danilo Piazza as well launching that car into the air. I don't think Piazza actually has that much damage to his car, believe it or not, but same cannot be said for that poor number 15 of Labate.
Yeah, I'm just showing you there the standings in each of your classes. Wow. Is that classified as our version of the big one?
Sorry?
Is that our version of the big one there, Connor, you just had?
Oh, yeah, probably. And we may end up seeing one in the actual iRacing Daytona 500 this weekend. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can get some fantastic racing, but in super speedway races, those things tend to happen. Yeah,
there's a big one in Preseason Thunder that was on NSR TV if you want to check that one out on YouTube. Ziggy, as a consequence, is now down in P number 4 in your GT1 field. And it's worth noting, actually, Brokerman has got away in class. 2.5 seconds now, the gap between himself and Niels Koch. Well, actually, for once, and I say that just as Niels Koch is going side by side with a prototype car. They're so close together here. But things are going Brokerman's way for once.
Yep, they definitely are, and he's perhaps been the victim of some rotten luck so far this season, but he's having all of the luck right now at the front of the prototype, not the prototype field, the GT1 field. That's a funny looking prototype, but yeah, he's doing very, very well. Niels Koch, again, very, very competitive in this car. Second place right now. He's going to have a lot of work to do if he's going to catch back into the slipstream of that Corvette.
Yeah. Pit stops here are important. Now, getting on pit road is moderately easy, we'll say. It's one of the easier pit entries they have. Just we want to make sure you slow it down to pit road speed. Getting off pit road, that is a different matter. Of course, for those people that did the 24 hours of Daytona, you can babyfoot it out of pit road. You'll lose a second, but it's worth it as Frederick Evers is coming in.
Yes, as the 17 car hits pit road, hits the yellow cones a little bit slower than the pit road speed limit. The pit road speed limit was about 54 miles an hour. He hit it about 45, so he's going to lose a little bit of time there as he searches for his pit box. And as you say, well, this pit exit can be very, very tricky indeed. I lost count of how many drivers I've seen hit the outside wall in that pit lane, as actually Frederick Evers didn't miss his pit box, had to stick it in reverse, and that's going to lose him even more time. But yeah, as you say, that pit exit, very, very tricky, and you can easily get right-hand side damage by grazing that wall.
RaceSpot Cat says hello. Frederick Evers out of pit road. Let's have a look on board of him then. Out of pit road. There you can see the yellow strips of doom, as the only way they can be called. 37.3 seconds on the lane. There's our first real reference point of the day. Ronnie Durig did a 36.4, even though he spent a second longer on pit road. So you've got to be aggressive on towards pit road. Really slam onto the brakes at the last moment. As we just saw Ribolo losing out big time into the bus stop with traffic. That means it's now Koolbergen versus Gonzalez scrapping it out for position. This is P6, P7 in class. Got to be aggressive on towards pit road, Connery. Then it's a balancing act as fast as you dare out of pit road itself, as Ron Heinrich and Niels Koch are neck and neck.
Yes, they are. It's definitely... Yeah, Brookman bringing that Corvette down pit road. Perhaps we'd expected that because he's been running at the front pretty much all day. He's been using the most fuel out of most of your GT1 cars. He will stop in his pit box right there, just over halfway down the pit lane, just waiting for that fuel to go in, no tires. And this will be interesting to see when Niels Koch heads his way down pit road, how much fuel he puts in his needs to put in his tank for the end. It'll probably be less than Rens Broekman. He'll be a lot closer when he comes off of pit road if he gets it right.
20.8 seconds then for Rens Broekman. Back out and away he comes. Noisy pedal can now be engaged. Be careful, have a look as Ronnie Durig is going to squeeze past into the international horseshoe. 27 minutes then remaining in the penultimate round of the championship here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacingLive in GT2. Well, the field's spread out now. Part of the reason for that one is the fact Eduardo Prado is out. He joins Carlo Labate, Rostam Carr, Micheo Filosa and Jurgen Frank is out of this event. And what it's done is it's spread out this field a little bit because Kottman was there in the mix, Slob was there in the mix. Slob is now actually onto pit road in the number 20 car.
Yeah, and so is the number 28 of Dimitri Damatos. One of your front runners in the championship for your prototype division finds himself on pit road for his first and only time, well, first and only scheduled stop during this race. One of the early pit stoppers in your prototype field. Maximilian Benecke, Diego Comey, Patrick Wolf, Daniel Piazza, and others still have not come down pit road, so most of them have not pitted yet. Close battle though. Niels Koch, Lauren Henlich, and Kevin Siggy very close on track for what is currently the lead in the GT1 division, but that's only because Rens Broekman is pitted.
You just cycled there and circled some of the damage to the front right of Baslob's car. Now, it's worth noting that he didn't get any repairs done to that. As we said, got this little battle going on, what is temporarily at least your lead battle in your GT1 field. And actually, Siggy's had a couple of absolutely stonking laps to get back on with these guys after you had that little near miss down at the bus stop chicane. But the damage to Baslob's car, you mean, that's enough that's going to hurt his straight line speed by a couple of miles an hour. Now, it's going to be okay if he's not really battling for position, Connery. But if there's someone right behind him, that 2 miles an hour is all it needs to overtake.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, he gets almost a big slide coming through turn 6 or 7 right there. He also has that, just looking at the damage as you just shown on screen, the wheel is also exposed right there. The wheel arch is basically pushed back over the wheel, so that's going to definitely ruin his the aerodynamics of that car. It's going to hit his straight line speed for a definite. I'm just having a quick look back at this GT1 battle. Niels Koch still provisional leader right now. Lauren Henlich does have the run, but number 7 decides not to capitalize on that one. Will they head down pit road? It doesn't look like they'll be heading down pit road. So Rens Broekman with the very early stop right there.
As Nick Thyssen from the race lead comes in GT2. Very close to the wall actually on pit exit. 17.8 second pit stop. 37.4 total time on pit road. Now, pit road here is classified as cone to cone. In terms of that time, it doesn't include exit run off of pit road. As actually, Thyssen's come out about 3 seconds ahead of this GT1 battle. So, if they get close, I was just having a look at the speed charts earlier on. Actually, they are going to struggle to pass Thyssen in a straight line, these GT1 guys.
Yep, they really are, and as they just head through just the this left-hander before the NASCAR banking right here, I fear that they might catch Nick Thiessen in the bus stop right here. We'll have to wait and see. Niels Koch will have to be hoping and praying there's something else in that Aston Martin to try and get him past the lap traffic before that happens. But I think this is going to be inevitable if I can judge distance as well.
Well, yeah, let's have a look at the speed graphics then for you. Well, we're not going to get much of a decent run there, but the thing is, here's going to be the perfect opportunity to show you what I mean. I mean, that's about 3 car lengths. Now, the acceleration is better on this Corvette or the Aston Martin. And you'll notice they initially are going to be able to get alongside. But you notice there now, they're struggling to get past. The two are going to have to work together. One of them coming towards pit road. And then Thiessen actually has got more speed. And it's not often you see a GT2 car out pulling a GT1. But that Ford GT has got a lot of grunt as Kevin Siggy's on towards pit road.
Yeah, it's not often that you see a lower class car manage to beat a higher class car on the straight line, as I think Niels Koch will try to make his way down the inside of the international horseshoe right here. Nick Thiessen getting well out of the way. But yeah, it's very surprising seeing a GT2 car outpace in terms of top speed a GT1 car on the straights. That is really weird and in some way quite awesome.
Right, so the key thing we're looking for now is the driver Orange Broken. We're on board of him. Let's not forget, he came on towards pit road about 2 laps before Kevin Siggy. And here's the situation. Siggy put 5 seconds less of fuel and we're going to class 1 on pit road as well.
Yeah, that was Neil Andrews just having a whole bunch of issues on pit exit right there. So he'll actually have to Austin Powers that car out from that situation right there. It's a very narrow pit lane, so he's going to try and get off and away from that one. So yeah, just look at the replay. It's just like he has to reverse and then go forward and then reverse and then go forward, which is why the Austin Powers reference was made. Yeah,
but the more important situation is because Kevin Siggy was 5 seconds faster on pit road, and the fact he came on later, he is ahead of Rens Broekman right now.
Yeah, he is, and oh well, that could be an exciting development right there, because just having a look, yeah, Kevin Siggy has made his way down pit road, and that gap is around about 8 seconds, if I'm reading that correctly, Will. So Kevin Siggy, very quick spot.
Yeah, that's fantastic there for Siggy.
Yeah, the pit stop time is very, very short for Kevin Siggy. I don't know how much he has underfueled that car as well. Rens Broekman misses the first part of the bus stop chicane, and Rens Broekman will be around. The number 2 Corvette driver doing oh so well in the early part of this race, having massive issues down at the bus stop.
Pressure potentially there, getting the best of Rens Broekman. He got 2 wheels onto the grass, tried to correct the slide, and then that Koana Supersports number 2 car. Well, there's no even any point now of talking about where he's going to be in relation to Ziggy et al. Because he's going to be in P number 4. Simple as that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's basically what Kevin Siggy needed Rens Broekman to do at that point, just have his own issues. But I wonder if Kevin Siggy's underfueled that car a bit too much. He's Niels Koch has also come down pit road, actually putting in a shorter stop than Kevin Siggy did by about a second. So Niels Koch drastically underfueling that car as well, and that might have just put him Niels Koch ahead of Kevin Siggy. Yes, it has. He's ahead of him on track right there as they head down through turn 7. Julian Riblio and Francisco Gonzalez, they're heading their way down pit road, and actually I think they were 2 by 2 coming down there.
They were. They're separated by 3 pit stalls, so it's going to be a case of who's going to be the fastest to come out between these two. Lots of developments then happening on track as we speak. We'll bring you up to date in just 1 moment's time. There is Ribelow. They come out pretty much identically, so Ribelow won't really be able to gain anything off of pit road. It will be Gonzalez that will come out ahead by about a second or so. I will make that scene as Lauren Heinrich now is on pit road as well, and Rens Broekman's back in. Evidently something's happened to Rens Broekman.
Yep, we'll just have to rewind the replay tapes to see what happened. There's more single car issues coming out of the turn 7 almost onto the NASCAR banking again. Spins it to the grass on the inside right there, and oh, things just go bad to worse for the co-anda driver.
His luck has been absolutely miserable this year, and I wouldn't be surprised to hear from him that he had some form of an issue with another driver, because it's not Range Brokerman-esque for him to have 2 unforced errors in the space of 2 laps.
No, it definitely isn't, and one excuse you can use is that these Corvettes have a lot of torque, and it's sometimes relatively difficult. If you don't have the wheel straight, it's sometimes relatively difficult to get the power down if you're trying to go on a curve, but I don't think really that excuse holds much water, because Range Brokerman is so experienced in that Corvette. You would have thought he would know better than to try and put the power down while he's still turning in that Corvette.
Nick Thisson, Curran Kloppman, car off into the wall. That is Mark Schindel there. And the number 32 machine. We'll get confirmation of that in a moment, because Thisson and Kloppman going to go side by side. A look then from our aerial coverage. Brought to you by And1 Design. Thisson on the outside. Use a little bit more straight line speed actually there over Curran Kloppman. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Kloppman on the inside, Thisson on the outside. Kloppman can hold that inside line nicely there actually. Pushes wide on corner exit. Nick Thisson though not quite close enough to get past yet. And not going to be close enough to make a stab down into the international horseshoe. There's a lot of drivers falling off here. We've got side by side Kohlbergen versus Gonzalez there. Very close battling between these two. As this was down in turn number 5, they go side by side once again. As they work themselves now through turn number 6 onto the banking they come. And these two have been side by side for about half a lap now, Conor.
Yep, they really have, as they make it side by side yet again, coming through the NASCAR banking off turn 1 and 2. Jeffrey Kohlbergen on the outside, Francisco Gonzalez on the inside. Gonzalez, if he can keep it there, he has the advantage for the first part of the bus stop, but no, he just backs out of it. Lets Jeffrey Kohlbergen through at least into the bus stop. But if he can get a good exit here, which he does not actually get, he could have had a run coming down into turn 1.
Yep, let's keep an eye out on the graphic just in case. I think Kohlbergen's running a little bit less of that spoiler than Gonzalez. I always get shouted at when I call it a wing. It's not a wing, it's a spoiler apparently on these cars. Gap down to a quarter of a second, down to 0.2 of a second as they work themselves past the start finish line. Nothing's going to happen there. You think there's been action today? There's a lot more to come here on RaceSpotTV. The Great American Racers Kohlbergen turned around down in towards turn number 1. Turned himself around. That was a solo car incident. Daytona 500, February 24th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, RaceSpotTV. Let's get yourself a replay of what just happened there, Connery.
Yeah, I think you scared him with your segue into that, Will. But yeah, single car incident for Jeffrey Kohlbergen. Again, not the first one we've seen coming out of turn 1, as he just hits the inside wall very, very hard. And that reminds me of the real-life Daytona 24 hours. Just hitting the inside wall, albeit that was very, very early in the race in the real-life Daytona 24 instead of the late race drama that we have here. But same incident.
Kohlbergen, who's actually having one of his best races of the season as well until that point.
Yeah, he really was, and now he's back through the field, currently scored 9th place. That is still a net gain of 5 positions on his qualifying time, but how many more positions is he going to lose? A couple of seconds back from him is the driver of Frederick Evers, and then Roque Garcia is, tens of seconds back from that, so he may not end up losing too much from this, depending on how his damage is right now. I'm just having a look at the front of that prototype. Not really all that much. I think he may be fine.
We've got a freeway battle for your race lead in GT1 with 15 minutes worth of racing to go here on RaceSpotTV primetime Wednesday night action. It's Nils Koch leading from Kevin Ziggy, from Lauren Heinrich there. That is how close the gaps are between them. It's a bit like a Skippy race at this point, I'm going to say. Ziggy's going to wait. Heinrich's going to wait. But you'll see them make one little move to see how far back they need to be at some point, is my prediction. No one wants to lead this race coming to the white flagging class.
No, I don't think so. And again, I'm kind of used to this because whoa, there goes Lauren Hengwag actually proving us wrong. Will we see 3Y coming down onto the tri-oval? Actually, they're just going to completely ignore us, and we're going to go fighting right now.
In towards turn number 1, Siggy to the point. Easy done for now. Kosh, then Heinrich are your new top 3. So they're dispelling everything. And some people are saying, what are you talking about, Will and Connery? You know, they're always going to try and go for position. Well, no, because again, if it's going to be this close to the draft, you don't always want to be in first place at the end of this one. But Siggy, a fantastic sector 1 there. He's pulled out half a second of these guys already. A lot of smoke being kicked up by all 3 of them.
Yeah, it really is. As I return back to what I was saying about the skippies, in Monday Night Skippies, you usually see this kind of racing on draft tracks where the drivers just trying to figure out where they want to be coming out of the final corner on these sorts of tracks, because sometimes you don't really want to be the first one coming out the final corner if they can pull off a pass coming down the straight, as there's prototype Joel Coroni just making his way through on these guys. Perhaps before the bus stop, here comes Henrich on Coke. Oh, a little bit of door slamming right there coming down into the bus stop. But Heinrich, oh no, more contact on the entry, but they still managed to keep it both pointed in the right direction. Heinrich had to skip across the curb, probably had to slow down penalty. Niels Koch looking for the position again. But look, there's going to be Kevin Siggy at the front. He's going to be laughing at his rear view mirror right now, because this is just allowing him to get away. Niels Koch bum drafting Heinrich coming down through the NASCAR banking.
Yep, welcome to NASCAR season, ladies and gentlemen. And that's a bit of desperation here, because they've lost 1.5 seconds now to Kevin Siggy. So Kosh and Heinrich all of a sudden have to work together. And a lot of that came because of the fact that Heinrich, more than anything else, just it was at a wrong angle in towards the second part of the bus stop chicane. Got himself a little bit sideways, but not enough that he was sliding that car too much. They've lost by 1.5 seconds. Well, that's the other option. Just drive past and hope the guys behind get themselves into issues. And again, they separated out a little bit because of a little bit of... That's a slow PRT car there, isn't it? Are they overtaking the PRT car? Am I just being silly?
Well, if they are, they're overtaking Maximum.
Beneke's overtaking them, sorry.
Yeah.
On board of Beneke. And I was confused, because why is it taking Beneke so long to get past? Of course, this is PRT car over PRT car. He's not going to put his own teammate into a difficult position. And there we are.
No, it's Maximilian Beneke being very respectful with his teammate right there. Last time by, he had a 10-second gap over the Panuni, so he's in absolutely no rush to just allow this fight to go on. Just did not hold up the other PRT car in the GT1 class at all. As I don't know if my eyes are deceiving me right here, but is this battle closing right back up again in GT1?
I'm not sure. It is a little bit.
By which I mean the gap between Siggy and Heinrich.
Yeah, I'm having a look. It's about 1.1 seconds right now. Down to 1 second. A nice little bump from Coach would be fantastic right now. But Siggy's being caught. And this traffic is going to be the difference maker, I think.
Yeah, but as we just saw that leading GT1 car, Kevin Siggy have a massive lockup coming down into turn 1. That inside that front left tire actually just causing a whole lot of smoke. There's more smoke coming down through the international horseshoe. Perhaps that was more due to Lauren Heinrich just locking up that right front tire this time. But yeah, they're definitely closing up. So we may see this three-way fight for the race lead in GT1s for the end of the race, which would be fantastic time finish.
Yeah, there is your overall race leader, by the way, Maximilian Beneke. We'll get the top 3 of each of your classes up on the left-hand side of your screen for the moment. Beneke leads by 8.1 seconds over Diego Comini. Patrick Call from 3rd in your prototype class. The big battle is in GT1 because it's come down further. Heinrich now 6 tenths per second again behind Siggy. The battle is back on all of a sudden here with GT2 battle. Well, actually, Fissett and Quatman are pretty much going at it as well right now. So lots of fantastic action going on here with 10 minutes to go in this motor race.
Yep, 2 battles to keep your eye on in the latter stages of this race. We just head towards 9 minutes left in the motor race. Nick Thyssen pulls out on the move on Koen Klopman. Looking back towards this GT1 field, here comes Lauren Henglike with the run on Kevin Siggy. Kevin Siggy has to defend, well, he goes towards the right-hand side of the track. Looks like actually they stalled out there with Lauren Henglike, just lifted out. But here comes the prototype, splits them right down the middle just before turn 1. Henglike on the inside, Kevin Siggy on the outside. Siggy will have to maybe drop the position if he can't hang it around the outside. Here comes Neil Koch, very opportunistic move as he, that was a very scary moment.
Yeah, Koch stays behind for the moment. Siggy maintains the second place. But that's another load of tyre smoke there coming up from Kevin Siggy's car. Fantastic three-way battle then going on here on RaceSpotTV Prime Time. Timing and scoring is available for those of you watching live for the last 10 minutes of this event. If you've not checked that out already, RaceSpot.tv/timing. And well, the good news is there's not many prototype battles going on, because that means we can just keep our eye out on Klopman versus Thyssen, which has just turned itself into 1.2 seconds, and also Heinrich versus Siggy versus Koch, 1, 2, and 3 in GT1.
Yeah, and we just see that number 7 car of Heinrich just pulling out the gap a little bit right there. Kevin Siggy just trying to hold on to as much of the slipstream as he can. As actually Heinrich went towards the left-hand side of the track. A little bit of IndyCar breaking up the draft right there. Just trying everything that Heinrich can do to try and stop Kevin Siggy from gaining more time, but he has through the bus stop right there. Siggy definitely snugly in the slipstream, so is Niels Koch. But this is going to be a grandstand finish, Will. I don't know who's going to take it.
Could be anyone's game. At this point, with 7 minutes remaining, it won't necessarily be a case of us knowing until the white flag comes out. And you've got to ask that question, where do you want to be? Koch right now, he's going to try. He's not going to really try and make a move. We're just going to see where he is in towards turn number 1. Heinrich leads it then from Siggy, then from Koch in GT1. In terms of your GT2 battle, well, there they are. GT1s are catching GT2s right now. And having a look at the gap, actually, here's the interesting one. I think they're going to catch him as they come to at least 2 to go, maybe the white flag.
Yeah, that could well be the case, and it's just gonna add another element to this battle for your GT1 field and actually the GT2 field. It'd be interesting to see how well they come off of that. But if they catch them during the white flag, it'll definitely be one of the best last laps that we've had for a while if these guys are up for it.
Having a look there on board with Thyssen, gapless 7/10 of a second as they headed onto the banking. We know Thyssen's got some really good straight line speed here today, and that is helping him. We'll keep an eye out on the timing and scoring on the GT1 battle as well, because Siggy is closing to the rear of Heinrich once again. Koch is closing to the rear of Siggy once again as they come down in towards the bus stop chicane. Is there going to be a move going on there? The answer to that question is no, not just yet. Thyssen takes out 3/10 of a second over Klopman on the run down in towards the bus stop chicane. Can he do anything out of the bus stop in towards turn number 1? Well, the gap's come down by a 10th, 2/10 already. By another 10th. By another 10th. And Thyssen again pulls out.
Yeah, I think he's just playing mind games at this point. I think he's worked out where he wants to be come towards the end of the race, and he's just hanging back in that second place. He's being very strategic out there as they follow each other very closely coming through the International Horseshoe. Klopman getting a better exit though, as the GT1 cars, they are just coming through the International Horseshoe as well. So this is how close those two battles in two different classes are right now. So we'll almost get both battles in one shot at some point in the next lap or so.
Is that a challenge?
Yes, it is.
There we are. We did just about get them all in one shot there. We will get them in towards turn number 1 next time around. But there is your battle. Thyssen only half a second back that time, so he is closer to the rear of Koen Klopman. And Klopman can play a couple of mind games here, because if Thyssen's thinking, okay, I need to be X distance back to make a move towards the start-finish line, and Klopman actually just pulls them back and closes the door in towards the bus stop, that could be a change here. So it's not just a case of you being a sitting duck. You can try and fight back in terms of the strategy as the new GT1 field. Siggy remains in second place. Heinrich, though, leading the way here, as he has done for the last 4 laps or so now.
Yep, as they head their way through the NASCAR 10, 3 and 4 bankings for one of the final times right here. 3 minutes and 45 seconds left on the play clock as Niels Koch, again, will pull up towards the back of Kevin Siggy and then won't go for the past.
Same thing with your GT2s there. Oh, we actually know. This one is so close there. He had a little over-under run in towards 1. Wasn't close enough. He's not close enough to do anything into the International Horseshoe. And there is your GT1 battle. They have caught them. This will come down into timing as to whether or not they're actually going to get them on the white flag lap or on the penultimate lap here. But they are now all in one shot. They are all within a couple of tenths of a second of each other. And we've seen as well that, don't forget, these GT2 cars are faster than your GT1s in a straight line. So, plenty of action then here for the last 3 minutes of this event. Wow.
Yeah, here comes Lauren Heinrich on the GT2 traffic of Nick Thiessen and Koen Klopman. Ahead of him is actually number 7's just going to hold back right here. Just has a little bit of a look, a little bit of hesitation right there. Kevin Siggy's also dropped back a little bit, perhaps not wanting to get involved in what is going on ahead of him, as Lauren Heinrich will try around the outside of the traffic. But look at the number 7 is just going to stall. Look, it's just going to match the speed of the GT2 cars. Here comes Kevin Siggy using the draft of the GT2 cars, as actually Nick Thiessen will head around the outside of Koen Klopman as well. Oh, this is going to be a mess if these drivers behave right here. There goes a prototype as well down the UP. It's all carnage. Still 2x2 in your GT2s.
Here they go then, 2 minutes remaining in this event. Your GT2 cars are at the front of this pack, just being caught by the GT1s. You've got a prototype there in the mix as well. 6 drivers, Kevin Siggy goes off in your GT1 machine. And now, Lauren Heinrich has been able to split your GT2 cars. He has the advantage for the time being. But now, you're in the situation that Siggy and Coach have got to try and find a way past this battle for P number 2 in GT2. So GT2, GT1 race leaders all together with less than 90 seconds remaining on the play clock for this one. To check where Beneke is, we will see the white flag this time by. There will be one more lap of this event to go. And well, it looks as though that Lauren Heinrich's just been able to lock out there. Being aggressive at the right time was able to help him. Niels Koch still in 3rd place, but it will take a miracle now for those two to catch up to Lauren Heinrich in your battle for P number 2 in GT1. Your battle for P number 2 in GT2, well, they're still there in it. In fact, though, your GT1 cars has split that battle, and the situation is that this, and we know, is the fastest of these, but he's just lost so much momentum recently.
Yeah, look at that, 3 wide coming across the NASCAR, banking Kevin Siggy, Niels Koch, and the GT2 car of Koen Klopman. But the Klopman isn't going to go away very quickly. He has the straight line speed advantage in that GT2 car, as the white flag will be displayed on the starter's stand right as they head across the line one more time.
Look at how fast this is, though. In a straight line on the run in towards turn number 1. He tries the outside line, big wiggle by him. That's probably going to put paid to his chances in this event. There is Kevin Siggy versus Niels Koch. That is the battle we are looking for. Into the International Horseshoe. Siggy turned around there. Klopman turned around there. In towards the International Horseshoe. We knew there was going to be some form of contact, and that means that Nick Thiessen has gone past. Siggy is in 3rd place, but now has fallen back. So the GT1 battle has pretty much ended now. Let's go back and have a look at the driver of Beneke in the number 1 machine out of the final corner. NASCAR turn number 4 for the final time. Well, we've not talked about it much, but he wins here at Daytona. He has a fantastic end to this event. And now Heinrich actually just really locks out when it matters, but it's not quite over between Coach and Ziggy. The gap is only 1/10 of a second. Something's wrong there. Surely my timing and scoring. But Niels Koch in second place in terms of GT1 line. Heinrich there locked out perfectly, Connery. When he had to be aggressive, he was able to split the GT2 cars and get himself ahead by a second and a half, and that is what mattered. He will win out in GT1.
Yeah, but as we see the number 7 car, he's just about to head his way across the line to collect the checkered flag in terms of GT1. Bart de Laat has already taken the checkered flag for GT2, but what a move there from Lauren Heinrich on the second to last lap. That negotiating the traffic in the boss stop as fast as that number 7 driver did has won them the race.
Niels Koch comes from second place in class. Kevin Ziggy comes from third place in class. Nick Thiessen does end up claiming second place in that GT2 field. What a crazy last few minutes we've had to that one. I mean, we've had some fantastic finishes, but that is up there with one of the most dramatic I think we've had at a ProtoGT race.
Yep, it really is, and usually if a pack of cars are that close at the end of a race here at the Daytona road course, it's always an absolutely fantastic finish, and that is what we've just seen right here in the ProtoGT Series. We've only got one more round to go, Will, and that'll be at Watkins Glen.
Yep, indeed. So we are almost out of time, so we are just going to run through your final race results then, starting first of all with your prototype field. Beneke wins out big over Comini by 14.3 seconds. Wolf in third, DeMatos in fourth, Piazza rounds out your top 5 in class. Of course, your prototype field was your largest field here today. 17 drivers. We had 13 of them finish on the lead lap. Over to GT1, and you'll see that you've got yourselves Lauren Heinrich winning out. The gap shows 2.2 at the end, but don't be fooled. It was much closer than that until the lap before the white flag. Heinrich, fantastic when it mattered, negotiating traffic, got the advantage over Niels Koch. And then Kevin Ziggy, when he made contact with a GT2 car of Karen Klopman on the white flag lap, that put paid to his chances to get second place. Rest of your GT1 field there showing for you. Finally, let's have a look at your GT2 field. Only 7 of them. We had a couple of incidents early on. Eduardo Prado out early as a consequence. Baslov had some issues as well. That's why he's so far back today. Bart de Laat wins out. Now, that one was done over the pit stop strategy. Fantastic run there by Bart de Laat. Nick Thiessen versus Cohen Klopman. It did come down to the white flag lap again. You can't use those times as a pure indicator. Klopman turned around down at the International Horseshoe. Thiessen comes home second. Klopman comes up at third. And final thoughts before we go. Well, what a day it's been here at Daytona. And we've got more of it to come your way on Friday with the iRacing Daytona 500. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's all we've got time for, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being a part of our coverage tonight. We'll talk to you on Friday for RaceSpotTV Primetime Formula Renault 2.0 style Twin Wing Motegi. Then, of course, in Daytona 500 here on your home with the 2017 World Championship Series.